Welcome back to Yang Daily. First off, if you didn't catch episode 31, please go back and listen to that first, as it has vitally important information for the Yang Gang, this podcast's future, and what you can do to keep it going. If you're already caught up, then here's the short and skinny for today. Andrew honored his Vegas event recently, and in his speech, he explained that he had originally been planning to run the entire race through, regardless of the results, but that some advisors convinced him that he can do more for UBI and his other causes by pursuing other avenues, and that he will be making an announcement on what that will be in 2 to 6 weeks' time. So stay tuned for that. Moreover, he reinforced his commitment to run in 2024, saying, quote, "I think we're going to go in next time as one of the leading contenders right off the bat," end quote. So if you are worrying that he might not want to do this again, we have his statement both from the article a few days ago and this to confirm that he does intend to run for president again, which is great to hear. There was also a New York Times article, Cursed Be Thy Name, which covered an interview with Yang and included Andrew saying that he wants to see a large-scale trial of UBI in New York City and has not ruled out running for mayor there. Considering the positive findings of New York's recent smaller UBI trial, it makes sense to scale it up and use it as proof of concept for taking the idea national. If he does run for mayor there, I am going to be super jealous of New York Yang Gang. Yang also said in the interview that he does not plan to endorse any candidate in the primary. Charles Booker, a senatorial candidate in Kentucky pushing for UBI, who we need to support, wrote an article on UBI, and here's an excerpt. Quote, "The only way we can give people true pathways to make decisions in their lives is by ensuring them more disposable income so they have freedom to invent, start a business, or advance their education. This is not a handout. It is a just investment in the people of our Commonwealth and this country. This is about creating opportunity. This is about fostering innovation. This is about building strong, loving families. This is about acknowledging everything that poor and working class people put into this economy and that they are never compensated for. This is about paying what is owed and finally ending poverty," end quote. Pretty powerful words and somebody that deserves to be supported by us. We also got an updated list of all congressional candidates running on UBI, as well as a thread where you can conveniently find all of their Twitter handles to follow them. Scott also gave us a list of UBI documentaries, and Kateri is inviting all Yang Gang to join her Yang Book Club. All in the links below. Bernie did an interview today with PBS NewsHour in which he basically echoed Yang word for word on how welfare programs are a bureaucratic mess, due to there being so many of them, all the restrictions on them, losing them as soon as you start to get income, etc. How Bernie thinks that programs should be universal, and how it's not important that the wealthy get benefits from universal programs because they're the ones paying for them. What a freaking idea, Bernie! Yet I still don't see UBI in your policies, the most basic universal program you could have to ensure that people have money. And I never once saw any effort on your part to stop your mini surrogates from attacking UBI as a Trojan horse to gut the social safety net, and for giving money to the rich. To be frank, I had a really good impression of Bernie going into this race. I thought of him as one of very few principled, honest politicians trying to do right by the people. But then I learned that he's proposing to fund all his programs with a wealth tax, which has failed everywhere it's been used, making it basically vaporware. Then I learned how he demonizes the rich and most Republicans, feeding into partisan tribalism. Then he left Tulsi out to dry when she was attacked by Hillary. Then his surrogates started spreading all manner of lies about Yang, and Bernie turned a blind eye to it. Then droves of his followers were throwing general toxicity at anyone who disagreed with Bernie on any detail. And I'm left wondering if he really is principled, or if the Democrats' corruption in 2016 broke him somehow. There was a time when I would have been as happy with Bernie as with Yang, but the more I see of Bernie's leadership, the less I like it. To add a cherry on top, one of Bernie's biggest Twitter surrogate accounts, People for Bernie, called Scott Santens a grifter yesterday, and AOC said in an interview that it would be fine if Bernie's M4A bill got severely compromised into a public option, something that she and other Bernie surrogates have also been trashing Yang for proposing. So look, I don't say any of this gladly, Nor am I trying to tell people not to vote for Bernie because he does have a lot of good policies and he is fighting for the people as a populist. But these issues are piling up and they're getting harder to ignore. And I'm not trying to insinuate that everyone following Bernie is toxic because I know that those are the minority and that sort of thing happens in every group. But there's no question that I've seen remarkably more toxicity from the Bernie camp than any other. And between the hypocrisy, the vaporware policy, and the type of behavior that he's inspiring and abiding in a large swath of his followers, I just want any Yang Gang who are planning to join Bernie's camp to know what they're walking into. I'll leave it at that. In lighter news, Greg Mankiw, famous conservative economist and author of most Econ 101 textbooks, did an interview where he directly endorsed Yang's UBI and VAT platform, explaining that it is a practical, workable means to transfer wealth from the rich to the poor versus wealth taxes and welfare programs. I have to mention the great tribute video for Andrew Yang made by the group Asians for Yang. It's a well done and touching short video thanking Andrew for all he has done and reassuring us that the movement continues on. Check it out below. Here's something amusing. Guess who's polling third in the latest national primary poll of students after having left the race? Yup, we ain't going nowhere. Lastly, Kat on Twitter pointed out that rather than diminishing, as one might expect, following the suspension of Yang's campaign, the Yang Gang seems only to be growing larger and more determined. This is exactly the determination we need to push UBI and Yang's other policies through in the coming years, including getting Yang into the White House in 2024. You all make me proud to be a part of this human rights movement. And that'll do it for our Yang News today. Check out the list of UBI congressional candidates, follow them on social media, and support them however you can. Consider Scott's documentaries and Cattery's book club. Watch the Asians for Yang tribute video. Keep growing the movement. Email me at yangdailypodcast@gmail.com if this podcast continuing is worth a few bucks a month to you. And don't forget to Yang Daily.